So today I'm going to, through the lateral line, I'm also talking about connecting the lower abs right here, so transverse, and going to explain like how to get into your sides on here. So first thing I'm going to do is, even though I'm working on the outsides of the line, I was working on the pressure up, but I also need that pressure in so that way I can expand outwards with my breath. So really, to get the lateral line, to get the sequence, I need to be a little bit wider and I need my breath to come out more. So take a look. Rather than this. And I'll do it from the front. So I'm looking for my breath to become wider so I can expand into my thoracic ribs and into all this area up here and kind of get rid of this tightness. So as I push out and I'm breathing, I still feel a lot of in out, and it should be both, right? So the breath should come up and down the pump iron, but it also should have a bucket handle, so it should come out and in. So that's what it's called. So when you're breathing, it's a pump handle like this, and then it's a bucket. So what I need is the expansion this way to start working the lateral line. So how I'm going to do that is today I'm going to touch upon the core a little bit. I'm going to start rolling out my sides, and I'm going to do a little bit of exercise for the glutes. So I'll start with my side first. So really lower it down for you guys. Okay, so the sides of my legs bow in a little bit. And essentially what I want is to get my balance between is I need to work the inside and lift the inside of my groin as I release the outside. So I'm going to start today where I'm going to start rolling out the outside, and I'm going to find my knot and I'm going to hold it there. So that's today's. So on the table here, get into my side. So when you have this, you'll feel it right away. I'm going to grab my ball, and this one's a little, on my right, it's a little closer to my knee. But right here, I feel the knot, I feel the grab, so I'm just going to hold it right now because this is very painful, right? And then like as I get more motion, I can move it around. Yeah, and when you're releasing and rolling out, okay, pay attention, look at your body first, because you want to release a muscle that is shortened and tight, not a muscle that is long and tight. And I'll show you the difference in a second. Just getting in here. I'm super excited to get to the sidelines because I really feel like with my walk, there's really like a waddle, and to get the balance, you can start to rotate a little bit better and transfer through. So that's what I'm looking at here to get. I'm looking to get the balance so I can stop with the waddle and the compression on the knees, compression on the ankles, and I can start transferring my body weight. Good. So I'll probably do this a little bit longer by myself, but just showing you. Okay, so now, same thing, this side is very intuitive. It's very like, okay, where do you feel the knot? Find it, hold it, move into it. Yeah, so this one's a little bit higher up. So first I'm going to release, and then what I'm going to do is after I release, then I'm going to stretch it, and then I'm going to move it. Yeah, so I know like personally I could be here for a lot longer, so I'll probably watch a show later tonight and just like roll out on it to release some of these knots. Okay, so next. So after that, I'll explain something in a second. Let me just get my thought process going. Okay. So now I'm going to floss my legs. So I'm going to stretch the outside of my legs, bring it over, take the IT band, and then I'm going to bend my knee and move it. So lying on my back, I'm going to start like this. First, I'm going to pump my heel to get my leg straight. And if you have tight hamstrings, if you're sitting, then just doing this will be enough. Good. Okay, so now if I get my length, and as I'm doing this, I'm trying to create length. So I'm trying to push my hip away, push my head back into the table as I push the heel away. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking, pull the toes, push the heel. Push the heel as I straighten the knee. Good. So once I get it straight as I can, feeling the stretch in the back of the leg, I'm going to pull it over and across. So if I have that tension on the hamstring and I'm pushing back towards it, I have the hamstring, the tension on the side here. Now, not letting my toe, this is key, I'm not letting my toe fall, because if I do, I lose the tension in my leg. Toe has to stay pulled towards you. So from here, cross the body, and then tension on the outside, and then I can slowly floss it, like straighten and bend. And what I'm doing is I'm starting to move the band around the knee with control from the hamstring. I can't say this feels good, that's for sure. It was very painful, but I know it'll be freer because I already feel I feel tension, honestly, from tip of my foot here, traveling down all the way into my butt right here. And I know this is tight because this is grabbing, pulling me in. And I'm saying, no, I don't want you grabbing, pulling me in. I want you pushed out and I want it held. Right? I'm starting to tell my muscles and body where to go instead of them telling me. Ha ha ha. All right, so same thing here. So I'll show you from this angle. So first, get the pump, okay? Get the pump in the knee, get the pump in the heel. So pull the toe, gas. So I'm gonna push on the gas first. This one's really tight too. Good, and as I push on the gas, I'm gonna start pulling the toe. Once the toe's pulled, then I start pumping, pushing the heel away. And you should try this. You don't need a band. You could use a towel. You can use anything you find, as long as you're controlling it. So getting that hamstring going. So for this one, actually, side feels a little tighter to me, which makes sense because this is my stability side, which I've been talking about. And I almost feel like I can't bring it up as high. I have to actually lower the tension and bring this leg a little bit lower to the floor on this side. So then straighten. And look, this is my leg. This is the tension of my leg straightened here. Take a look at that angle. And this is the tension of my leg straightened here, right? Big difference between this and this. This is pretty much where I'm at. So I know that I'm going to have to work on some movement in my left. And a lot of that is pushing off more with the left and holding it. So now, heel pushed away, cross the body. It's so painful. Okay, and then from here, so right here, I'm actually not even going to pump on this side because right now, what I feel is, that my outside of my quad here just wants to fire and contract to hold it in place. So I'm just going to hold it here. And honestly, I'm just going to work on the cross motion first before I get my bends because it just doesn't have. So I'm just going to do small motions. So this one, I'm not going to do the whole flossing thing. I'm going to listen. I'm just going to do the small motions. Right? And I guess, my goal is connecting myself so that way when I go into any kind of fitness class or I want to do any exercise that I know I can do it and start feeling the proper things. Because how frustrating is it when you're in a class and the instructor is like, You should feel it here. Use your butt. Use this. Engage your core. And you have no idea what they're talking about. Or you're like, I don't feel it there. So, I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm taking this time, taking this process ahead of time. And this is what I specialize in. So it's good. It's good I get to do it to myself in front of you. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Okay, so now that I have my sides going, before I do the exercise for glute med, which is, so when people walk, a lot of times, right, they have a sway to them. It's kind of like this side sway, right? And what I want to do is I want to get rid of this side motion, and I want to start doing more of a rotation motion. So to do that, I will get into glute med right here so that when I stand and everything, I don't have that hip pop into the hips. So I'll do that in a second. Hello. Oh, good. Okay, it's still on, it's still connected. So before I get right into the exercise, I'm going to roll out my lower stomach again because I need, right? And everyone's like, well, haven't you worked on the lower stomach? No, I have to keep coming back to this because this is one of the main areas. So hang on, let me just check something. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So this is one of the main areas. So this is why, right? Because I wasn't feeling it that well at the beginning, and I'm gonna have to keep working on it. Okay. So this is your muscle, and your muscle, so they have, you want them on with a little bit of tension, right? So that everything's working. So every muscle just has a little bit of length. That way it can do its job. It can shorten, lengthen, shorten, lengthen, shorten, lengthen. So when you have a knot and certain muscles get inhibited, I'd say, and you can't move, they shorten and they form little knots. So if one side shortens, the other side has to overstretch. So the problem with it in terminology with the fitness industry is they just call it tight muscles. But really, this is key to differentiate. This is why you need to look at yourself and feel. If you take a lengthened muscle and you try to keep stretching it, these are the people that have those neck problems, keep stretching it, and then all of a sudden they have headaches or it feels worse. It's because the muscle is collapsed and it already has too much tension. That muscle actually needs to be strengthened to get pulled back in. Okay. On the opposite, if you take a muscle that is shortened, okay, and you just try to pull it, then what's going to happen is it's going to tear. So that's why I'm rolling out. I'm starting to release so I can feel, so then I can activate, so then I can have everything working in balance as one, right? So with this was so shortened for me that this is going to take a while for me to get into, right? And I can show you with the breath. Actually, yeah, I'll do this one. I'll show you with the breath because you also need to see my sides for when I'm doing the core exercise. So this is me here. So what I'm saying to my viewers and everyone is that I need this working in so I can get the breath out, so I cannot be so compressed in and be a little wider to have my shoulders, my collarbone, everything that length that it needs in order to move. So same thing with the back, right? I'm compressed here and I'm breathing, right? Compared to my core is pulled up, right? I have that motion back and then I'm breathing here. I have to do it in a unit relax. So just let me get some movement going first. Okay, now I'll get the breath. Take a look at the bra line. So hopefully you saw a bigger breath, more expansive breath. That's what I'm looking for because it's really about pressure. I need the pressure here to generate everywhere else. So I'm going to go back into the lower abdominals today. So outside of the legs, lower abdominals. And then I can get my movement and everything back. This is good because I'm getting I'm getting a little bit deeper too each time, and then I'm feeling something else open up. So I know this is a big process. I find that, I do still training, like I touch around certain areas. Like, okay, so if you roll something out and release it, it's going to be sore. So I'm not going to do my outside of my legs again tomorrow because my outside of the legs are going to be sore. However, that's the perfect time. I just released it. So now I can work into it. So now I'll start moving it and I'll start doing some movement to the outside of my legs and everything tomorrow. So I can take that tissue that I've worked out and now I can say, hey, it's okay. It's okay to move. Let's go. And let me know, like, if you're on YouTube, if you're on any of the chats, put it in the chat. Like, let me know where your problem areas are. Because then, like, future videos, I can work on them and I can answer some of your questions. Good. So this is key. So now I want to get the retraction. So there is 4 main ab muscles, right? There's the transverse, there's the rectus, there's the obliques, internal and external, right? So the one everyone talks about is transverse, which is the lower one that comes around this way. So it's the one that comes here, comes around this way and wraps, and they call it your belt line to be tucked in. So what I want to get the retraction from here pushed in and held. So my core exercise for today, because there's always going to be a core exercise for me every single day that will be consistent, that I'll work on. I'm not going to try to kill my abs and overdo it, because if I do, like right now, I have this going on and I am getting a little bit more, back it up. Here we go, flat. So if I have this, you see my back, I'm getting the length and I'm coming back. However, if I worked out the abs too much and just did crunch, 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 you could see how I could have the opposite problem, right? I'm looking for balance here. So there's always a pull and a tighten. And I don't want this overstretched. Like, this is compressed for me, but if I keep crunching and pulling, then all of a sudden I'm gonna be stuck in this position. And then my breath won't go anywhere in my stomach. And then I'll just be stressed because I'll have to do the upgrade. It's amazing. Posture tells you everything. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do now. So here I am. I'm going to let it all hang out. Let the stomach go. Let it hang out. Now, as I put my hands and knees, I tend to go out and I tend to arch. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in and I'm pushing in with my legs. So I'm squeezing my legs together and I'm squeezing my arms together. So as I squeeze my hands and arms together, I'm going to breathe, and then I'm going to get my retraction. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to try to, underneath, so below my belly button, I'm trying to pull that in. Okay? And I want you to go in your neutral. Like, so for women, I find like a lot of times they have this arch, but for men, a lot of times they're so tucked under that they're already almost retracted. So they have to retract and then untuck their pelvis out of it. Whereas me, I have to retract, pull in, retract, and then I have to tuck under just slightly. And as I do, my tuck under is a little bit from the retraction. I'm not forcing the tuck under, I am pulling in and allowing the tuck under. You see the difference? It's all about like allowing the movement to go where it needs to go. So as I hold this, okay, squeeze in, I'm going to breathe. I'm going to be quiet for a little bit here because I really need to feel this. So just kind of watch what I'm doing, okay? There we go. So I had to allow my left side to go back, the retraction, and then open up my right a little bit. So this shaking is what I want. So you can't tell, maybe you can, but right. And as I pull up a little bit, it goes to my head. I feel a stretch in my back because my back is tight. So my upper back, I feel the stretch, so the shoulder blades area. Now I'm forcing that breath out as I'm holding. And you should be shaking on this, okay? Because that retraction is very hard to hold. Very easy for me to let it go. It's very hard to keep everything in. And I can feel right away that my right side here, up top, it just wants me to drop to my left. So I have to fight that. Good. So that's my exercise. So if you have it, if I have it well, like I'll show you later on, if I have it set, I have it well, have my squeeze, and then I can lift up an inch, really get my core line going. All right, you can take that into movements, you can take that into whatever you need to. Okay. The problem is that I don't want too much pressure on my wrists, and I don't want too much pressure on my toes. Like I want it coming through the core. So during those movements there, like I felt my wrists, which means that I'm just transferring the tension away from my stomach into my shoulders and arms. And that's kind of how you know, like, hey, you know, if I start to feel my wrists, my extremities, then I know my core is not there. Yeah, this one's good. This is a little longer today. So my last one I'm going to do is I'll do it for the lower, the sides, right? So I said I touched glute med a little bit. I'll show you how I do this one. These are my exercises for today. So if I relax here, right, my stomach just pulls out. So what I want to do is I really want, again, that length. If you remember, the line I said was from the ear to the outside of the foot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my toe, push my leg away. And so you see as I push my leg away, do you see how this lengthens? Good, so let's do this in stages. So lie on your side. The first thing you're going to do is push your bottom leg into the table. So as I push my bottom leg in, it's going to lift my hips a little bit, right? Because I'm creating that cross tension. From there, I'm going to retract, pull up the core, and then I'm going to take my leg, push it away, and lengthen. So now I can do this in a lengthened position, and watch my head. As I push away, you see how my head moves? I want that. I want that length to go through the entire side. So right now, I feel from my heel all the way to my neck, my entire side burning, because I'm pulled up, not letting it pull down, pulled up, pulled in, lengthened. Next, I said glute med. So glute med, a little bit of internal rotation. So I'm going to rotate my leg just a touch in, and then I'm going to pulse. And what do I feel? I feel right here on the backside, just grabbing, slightly, grab, 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 grab. I'm not doing big motions because here's the thing. I don't want my leg to just, see? I don't want this. I want this. Hang on. This. Right? Moves a little bit. Majority is coming from the butt, and I'm starting to get the burn. Right? And you go slow and controlled. Right? And I want grab, grab, grab. You probably only do so many here. I'm probably looking to do about 30 of them or so. Right? I want more reps, less weight on this. This is a stability muscle. 2, 1, hold. I'm going to hold it, pull my toe towards, hold it, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. 3, 2, 1. There. And you can see that's me just like relaxing out of it. Okay, so if you're going to isolate muscles, a lot of the exercises are not movement exercises. A lot of the exercises that we do in the gym are isolated exercises. So if you're going to isolate, you have to learn where to control your body in order to isolate. So I'm good today. See, I'm getting the flow a little bit. Okay, so yeah, this side, right? Wants to pull back. So first thing, tension from the bottom leg, right? Because I need that I don't want my hips compress in order to start the exercise. I want that tension there, push hips out. So now with the hips out, I said, I'm going to get the retraction and the core up. So it's a retraction and up. Good. And then here comes my legs. See? You can see, right? Belly button, belly button. Good. So now I have my length. And from here, hang on. So I'm just going to be quiet for a second because I need to feel what's going on. So this is my right side. This is the side that's harder for me to stabilize. So that's why I just have to be more aware. And I feel like, see, my leg wants to turn out. My foot here wants to turn out. So I'm going to say no, turn in. There we go. Okay, now I have it. Now, tiny motions. Get my retraction. Grab, 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 grab. And this is how to get that length, how to get the outside butt muscle, how to not sway. So this leg is harder, and I want to collapse. Like I want to collapse in, so I have to pull it out, and that has to do with my groin on this side and my pelvis. I can talk to you about that later. I'm sure you don't care unless you do. Then I'll tell you about how the pelvis, when the rotation happens, it happens in the pelvis as well. And that's why it's hard for me to get some of these areas. Okay, I'm really feeling the grip. 3, 5, 4, 3, 2. And I'm just trying to stay controlled, right? Because it's easy for me to just like drop. But no, I'm doing it. If I'm spending the time doing it, then I want to do it right. Right? If you want to exercise, you want to exercise right. So this was today's. It's getting a little longer. I appreciate you guys being with me. If you have any questions, shoot, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.